Good morning. Today is the 14th. Again, not another great night. Alright. Reuben was the firstborn of Israel, but forasmuch as he defiled his father's bed, his birthright was given unto the sons of Joseph, the son of Israel. Judah prevailed above his brethren, and of him came the chief ruler, but the birthright was Joseph's. 1 Chronicles chapter 5, verses 1 through 2. Reuben, the firstborn of Jacob, was heir to the birthright, but lost that privilege when he committed serious sin. Instead of the birthright then passing to Simeon, the second-born son of Leah, it passed to Joseph, the firstborn of Rachel. That birthright entitled Joseph to a double portion of Jacob's inheritance, but more important, it gave him the right to the keys, the right of presidency or directing power of the Melchizedek priesthood. In that ancient day, priesthood leaders presided over a patriarchal theocracy, a family government that received direction from on high. These mighty high priests governed in all things civil and ecclesiastical. Revelation was their constitution, and continuing inspiration was the basis for their laws. Okay, so today is Numbers chapter 22. And I read the proper chapter this time, so it makes a lot more sense. So the people of Moab and Midian saw what the Israelites had done to the Amorites, and one of the kings, Balak, he feared the Israelites. Now he fears them. He's like, I need somebody to come here, curse them, so that they don't do to me what they did to the Amorites. So he calls Balaam. And I'm not quite sure who this guy is, but he seems like a prophet of some kind, or a priest of some sort. He calls Balaam, and he says, come curse these people, because who you bless gets blessed, and who you curse gets cursed. And in the night, God comes to him and says, don't go. These are a blessed people. Don't do it. So he refuses to go, but he sends his men again and sends more treasure. And Balaam says, if your Lord gave me his city full of silver and gold, I could not go against the Lord. Now here's the interesting part, or it sounds like miscommunication or mistranslation. The Lord came to him again in the night, and said unto him, if the men come to call thee, rise up and go with them. But yet the word which I shall say unto thee, that shalt thou do. So in the morning, Balaam rises up and goes with the men, and it says that the Lord's anger was kindled against him. So you're saying, it's like the Lord saying, okay, if they come to call on you, you can go with them, but you have to say the things I tell you to say. But then he goes with them, and the anger's kindled against him. Anyways, and then the donkey sees the angel, and that whole situation comes about. So that's what's happening. Now, the story of Balaam. Great blessings flow when we aspire to the honor and glory of God rather than to the honor and pride of the world. The purposes of God cannot be thwarted or altered by the hand of man. Our mission is to align ourselves with full devotion to the will of God and to do all in our power to carry it out faithfully. From the sad commentary about Balaam, the fallen prophet, we learn valuable lessons about motivation, both the kinds that lead to destruction as well as the kind that lead to great spiritual blessings. People who are spiritually motivated aspire to the honor of God and seek to do the will of God. They know that spiritual wealth is infinitely more glorious than the ephemeral accumulations of worldly goods and titles. They fear God in that they respect his justice. They love God in that they keep his commandments and strive to emulate his Son in all things. The honor of God and the will of God and the justice of God are the interacting themes of the story of Balaam. So Balaam was a prophet who lived in Pethor, a city by the Euphrates. When the hosts of Israel were encamped in the plains of Moab, east of the river Jordan, near Jericho, the king of the Moabites, Balak, took action to hire Balaam, who apparently had the reputation of divine influence, for the purpose of cursing Israel. Balaam agreed to approach the Lord on their behalf, but the message was not to their liking. The Lord adjured Balaam, "Thou shalt not go with them, thou shalt not curse the people, for they are blessed." Still Balak insisted. So Balaam supplicated the Lord again and received permission to go, provided he would do according to the Lord's command. So Balaam went, though God's anger was kindled because he went. Okay, so it's not a mistranslation. It's just one of those things where it's like the Martin Harris, like, no, you can't take the pages. No, you can't take the pages. No, you can't take the pages. Fine, take the pages, but you're going to suffer the consequences. Okay, after Balak enjoined Balaam 3 times to view the hosts of Israel and perform the cursing that he had paid for, but each time the answer came back that in almost rhapsodic affirmation that Israel was to be blessed by the Lord rather than cursed. Let's see. Balaam was outwardly committed to uphold the honor of God, but in his heart he heeded the beckoning enticements of worldly wealth and prestige. Thus his vision was impaired, for he set out on his journey, and he could not at first see the angel of the Lord standing to prevent his own self-destruction. To allow the entanglements of pride and vain ambition to take root in our hearts will obscure our view of heavenly objectives so apparent to the pure and faithful. We cannot fool God, for he knows our hearts. We will not only be judged by our outward expressions of service, but even more so by the desires of our hearts. Surely this is why the brethren speak so much about becoming pure in heart, making our thoughts more pure, and preventing us from taking in and harboring evil thoughts of any nature. Surely Alma was right when he asked the question, have ye experienced this mighty change in your hearts? Without a pure heart, we will eventually succumb to unrighteous thoughts and deeds. Great blessings flow when we aspire to the honor and glory of God rather than to the honor and pride of the world. There you go. Geez, that one was a little boom in your face. All right. This one is anonymous. O thou who for our sakes has lifted upon the cross, lift up from the grave, lifted up into glory, draw us unto thee, O good God, with cords of a man, with bands of love, that we may seek thee in prayer, may follow thee in holy obedience, and may set our affections on things above, where thou sittest on the right hand of God. I tell you what, when you don't get sleep. All right, that was Numbers chapter 22. And tomorrow we do chapters 23 and 24. And hopefully I get a full night's sleep. But we'll see. All right. I love you all. I will talk to you later. Have a great day.